25 most of the time.
All right, here we go. Another Square Dance Callers Talking. Tonight I have Henna Yauger. We're going to talk about her life in square dance calling and what she's doing with it. How are you tonight, Henna?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to be here.
It's great to get to talk to you finally. We've only seen each other and messaged back and forth through email and Facebook, but it's a joy to get to talk to you. I think some of the stuff I've seen you post, we've actually passed each other at a convention here or there, and but just never had the time to talk. So tonight it's about you. So we'll start with this. Where are you? Where do you live?
I'm in Vidor, Texas currently. It's a pretty small town just outside of Beaumont. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours from Houston.
I got you. Beaumont, Texas. Now, were you born and raised in Texas? How'd that all come about?
No, I am born and raised in Portland, Oregon. And then my mother passed away, and I decided I was going to go to the beach and have a good time. So I went to Florida, and I lived there 2 separate times for about 9 months. And then I decided Florida wasn't for me, and I decided that I'm ready to go to Texas, and I just came to Texas.
Nice. Okay. And without getting off the square dance calling and that kind of thing, I noticed you posted some stuff. You got a truck? You got a new truck?
Yeah. I really love my truck. I love modifying it. I love towing things with it. I have a sound system that I put in there. I have 2 tens under the back seat. I have an amp and I have bass knob. That's how I get through the day. That's how I get through my life. You know, you just get in the car and you turn that up. Like, you turn that up.
That is awesome. That is outstanding. Yeah, I see some of that stuff on Facebook. That's a hell of a good story right there with tens under there. So about the square dance calling, when did you start square dancing?
Basically it was like freshman year of high school, and I went to a store called Boot Barn, and they had these little papers for the country cut-ups, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll meet some cute country guys my age. Turns out I go there, everyone's above the age of 40, but I see Scott Zinzer on stage, and I say, I want to do that within the first night.
Nice. Okay. So that was your freshman year of high school. So you wanted to do it. When did you actually decide to give it a shot, or who'd you talk to? How'd you get into the calling aspect of it?
About halfway through, Scott announced that we have a budding caller halfway through lessons. And then he basically, that summer after I started studying, I started to print out every piece of material I could find. I had a vanilla folder that just expanded, and I had like everything. I had the definitions, I had it all. I had anything I found on scene calls, you know, everything you could imagine. I printed it out and I tried to learn. And I was gifted my first 345s. I was given a Caliphone at first from Daryl Clendenin, and he gave me a box of records. And then Scott gave me the 3 records that he recorded on Desert. That's Redneck Girl, Fly on the Wings of Love, and the other one, Here Comes That Rainy Day Feeling. Okay. And that's how I started. And then after that, Callerlab donated a Hilton to me.
Oh, outstanding. So and I usually wait to get into it. When did you join Callerlab? When was that?
I say maybe like 4 years ago. Okay. Probably 4 years ago. Nice. Every year when I was like starting, I would have like a birthday party every year, and it'd be belated, and I'd invite like all of my caller friends to come, and then I would get floor time from doing that. And I think it was probably about 2020 when I bought my licensing.
Gotcha. Very nice. So with all that, and Daryl Clendenin is a tremendous name to have there. Who's some of your other mentors, people that have worked with you, that type of thing?
So Sikorsky is probably my biggest supporter on the planet. Sometimes people, when they come to train you as a caller, they start at the bottom, like, and it's very boring. And it's like, oh, we want to do chicken plucker. We want to run chicken plucker. I don't know everything that's down here. I don't know what it's called, but my level's up here.
Okay.
And so like Sikorsky will work at my level, and I don't know how to explain it, but he's the best person for that. And when you go to his schools, you get on stage and he works with you while you're calling from the floor.
Yep. That's awesome. And you wrote, and with Mike Sikorsky and Daryl Clendon and all that, you've also recorded a few songs. Who's some of the other people you've worked with?
I mean, I'm on Rick's label. I'm gonna be on Lone Star soon. Other than Scott and Sikorsky and Wade, those are who I'm learning from.
Nice.
It's really crazy that I'm learning from Wade, and I'm really blessed because as soon as I started calling and I started getting, looking at singing calls, I really looked up to him. He was like the Waylon Jennings for me.
Sure.
And so I never thought like I would record a song with him, but it was a goal. And the fact that that even happened, and the fact that I get to drive an hour and a half and I get to call Tip and he's the one coaching me is like, that's like you can never, like, that's a miracle.
No, it is. I mean, that's some top level names there. You know, so you typically would have to go to a Callerlab or something like that just to run into that level of callers. And you've got Clendon and Sikorsky and Wade Driver and those guys. And like we were saying, I just noticed that you just called a little bit or was up on the stage with Vernon Jones yesterday. Tell me about that.
I wasn't with him on the stage. I was just like, he did really good. I want to take a picture with him.
Oh, okay.
A lot of times, so I've been doing like early squares at Renegades, but a lot of times what I'll do is if I really liked a caller and I liked the dance and I liked who they were, I will take a picture with them at the dance and I will post it.
Okay. I got
And
you.
I'll like talk about them,
Nice.
It's a way to connect with people.
It absolutely is. I mean, and that's the only way. You got to get out there. That's the one thing about being a square dance. One of the things about being a square dance caller is you're in front of the stage. All the attention's on you. So you have to go up and talk to people. And that's going back to call. Have you been to some of the Callerlab conventions, I'm guessing?
I really wanted to go this year, but financially I wasn't in a spot I could go. But I think maybe next year I'll probably be at the South Carolina one.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be the 50th. So that's a huge one. It's 3 hours from me. So it's pretty convenient compared to some of the other ones I've gone to. But that's just it. Some of like the names you came up with, people like that, I don't get to see unless I go to a national convention or Callerlab. I've run into both Mike and Wade at conventions and awesome guys to talk to. And that's the only way to get out there. Same with Vernon Jones. I mean, he's out of Texas. How often am I going to see somebody in Texas?
Well, yeah, I said I'm going to be harassing him from now on because what he called was that he was like, he blew my mind. After that first tip, I was at a loss for words, and that's not easy to do to me.
I understand.
So,
okay.
But you can't be afraid to just call these people.
Yeah.
So anytime I see a caller coming into town I'm interested in, I get on Vic's Theater, I call him, and I say, hey, do you want to go out to lunch? And I meet him. And if I think they're worth learning from, then I let them know.
Very nice. That's the way to do it. That is awesome. So now, have you started do you call your own dances and all that? Do you travel around doing it, or are you just doing tips? What are you doing?
I've been doing tips. I had a couple opportunities to do lessons. In Oregon, I was going to start teaching lessons, but then, we had some family stuff happen. So I decided that I was out of there. And so I didn't get to teach that, and that sucked. But, sometimes you just got to move. You got to go places. You got to go where your heart tells you to go.
Absolutely.
In Florida, I did a little bit. Here, I got offered some lessons, but I'm in the process of getting my CDL. So the moment I pass that permit test, I'm going to be going to school from 10 to 2. And they wanted me to teach a class during the day for kids so I could get the hall for free at night. And I was like, I can't do that. I got to put myself first. If I wasn't in school or had school, then the answer would be yeah.
All right. Okay. What part of Florida were you in?
Melbourne, Sebastian.
Nice. Okay.
So that's
down on the East Coast.
Like Orlando. I was a Disney pass holder. It was great.
I love Melbourne. I like the East Coast side. I like the Atlantic Ocean. It's nice over there. How long were you there for? 2 years?
It's about 9 months each time.
Okay.
I was there. So about 18 months together.
Okay. Well, with the traveling around, then I guess you did some dancing and stuff like that in Florida when you were down there?
A little bit. I mean, I started going to the space trackers in Merritt Island, which was like 45 minutes away. And they were talking about I'd go up for tips, and they were talking about hiring me for lessons, but I didn't stay in Florida.
Gotcha. Okay. with all the traveling you've done, especially lately, but all through your life with doing this, any venues or any places really stand out just as a cool place to dance, whether it be a floor or whatever?
So the first place that I ever danced, the Country Cut-Ups, they took a barn and they converted it in like 1965 to a dance hall. And they have an outdoor dance floor. And it's just the coolest place and it has the best sound because of course Scott knows how to run the sound.
Now, you have recorded a few songs. What's some of your favorite singing calls or pattern music? What do you like to do?
Lately I've been doing American Pie and Free Ride off Royal, and then Ted's label, Rhythm is a Dancer, My Sweet Lord off Rick's label, Suspicious Minds, which that's Wade's version. I don't even know his name. That's a fun one too. Heartache on the Dance Floor, that's solid gold. I got one just now. I got something. Matt sent me Best Love, and I really like it. I like the stuff that he's coming out with now. And then he sent me Wicked Game the other day.
Outstanding. Okay. That's good stuff. Now, with the sound system and everything you have in your truck, if you're not listening to square dance music, what's your music genre that you go to?
Lately, I've been doing a little bit of divorced dad rock. I know that sounds funny,
What
but
is
like some
that?
Shinedown. That's like Shinedown.
Okay.
That's like Five Finger Death Punch.
Okay.
But then I have this real like my music taste is like 60s, 70s. It's like old school. I'm not supposed to be born in this time frame.
Gotcha.
So it's like I like Elvin Bishop, Fooled Around and Fell in Love, stuff like that. The whole entire Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, that's my music taste.
Awesome. That's good stuff. Shinedown is phenomenal. I love Shinedown. Gosh, that's good stuff. So we got that. You're not that old or anything like that, but now, any concerts you've ever been to? Anything that you like that really stood out to you? Just music in general?
The favorite concert that I've been to in my whole entire life was probably ZZ Top.
Nice. When was that?
It was about 2011, and me and my mom, like, she introduced it to me, and then I loved it, and I was like, let's go. And then we went, and there's this little venue outside. There's these places in Oregon called Edgefields.
Okay.
Well, it's called McMinimum's Edgefield, and they have like a golf course. They have like a mineral pool. They have like food, and you stay in there. People say it's haunted. It used to be like a poor farm, but they have a really cool outdoor venue.
Very nice. Okay. Now, and I want to get into you had a story you wanted to tell me and all that, and we'll get into that in a second. And I just started asking this question because I thought about it a couple of days ago. With the traveling you do, you may not get a whole lot, but any movie that comes on TV, any movie or TV show that if it's on, you stop everything and finish it?
I'm going to say there's two movies, and one is going to tell you part of the story that I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie called Temple Grandin?
What is it?
Temple Grandin.
I have not.
It's about an autistic girl, and she changes the whole entire cattle industry. Okay. And I, myself, is on the spectrum. So it's like, and it's just a beautiful movie. It's an inspiring movie. She like changes all the slaughterhouses and all these things. And like people didn't want to listen to her because she was a chick and she was autistic. And it's just like an overall inspiring movie. The other movie I love is Urban Cowboy with John Travolta.
Come on. That's it. Yep. Good call. Urban Cowboy.
I just love the music. You get to see Charlie Daniels band in there. I wish we could go back to that time frame.
Yeah. Oh, I can. Urban Cowboys one. I can do word for word, beginning to end. Drives my wife insane. If it comes on, I'm going to sit there and watch it from whatever part it is. Even if it's right them getting married at Gillies, I'm in for the next hour and 45, and I'll do it word for word. That's awesome, Urban Cowboy. Yeah, that's before your time for sure. That's good stuff. You were born in the wrong time. You were born in the wrong time. All right. So tell me about you.
What about me exactly?
So you started square dancing when when you were a freshman in high school and you
Oh,
started
so here's the
calling.
story. Here's
Yeah.
the story.
Okay.
Okay. So I was so determined and passionate to be a square dance caller. So I went over to my lifetime fitness teacher and I said, can I borrow this class for 2 days a week? I would like to teach them how to square dance so I can get some stage time. And I wrote a curriculum with singing calls and short stuff. So like I could teach it easily on paper. And I wrote down notes for myself and I just used the guitar amp. And I legit, I'm like, this sounds wild. It's like, that's how determined I was. I went in this place and I taught them. There's a good portion of my classmates who know how to square dance because of me.
Wow. Very nice. That is determination. I mean, and some people don't have that. That's a calling. It's a gift. For the first year I did singing calls and I was content with doing that. I did not want to get up and struggle doing patter and all that. So, now I've kind of got beyond that. I look forward to the patter part of it. So now, have you had a chance to teach? I mean, other than that, with the Life Fitness, were you teaching other places or over in the years you've been
Usually
doing it?
it's just a lot of like one-nighters
Okay.
lately because I haven't put roots down. I want to, but I feel so good when I'm traveling. The Journey song, Wheel in the Sky. That's how I feel.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've got Wheel in the Sky. I haven't done it yet. I still have to work at this. As much as I love 80s music, and I'm all about the 80s stuff, I cannot get some of the vocals because it's so high, a lot of it. I mean, and I could adjust music and all that, but I just don't. For some reason, I've got a voice that sits around 70s country, and that's what I do most of the time. So you say you're on the spectrum and all that. You want to talk about any of that?
Okay, here's the other funny story.
Okay.
I was fundraising to go to Sikorsky school, and this is going to sound a little offensive, but if you think about it, and the fact that I have autism is, I got on the mic and I'm sitting here. I had like beanies and all kinds of stuff that I was selling in order to like get the money to go to Roseburg to go to his collar school.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I'm sitting here and I get on the mic this is funny, but it's bad. I get on the mic and I go, I really need you guys' help because when you die, I have to carry on the torch. And the whole room was pissed. But I mean, if you see my intent,
I understand. No,
and I've learned to be different, but it's a hilarious story.
It is. No, I mean, you have to, when you go in there, you look around and it's an older group and square dancing for the most part has been for years, whether it be a dancer or callers. And we absolutely need the younger callers. Might have been a different way you could have put it, but, people understand. That's good stuff. It's actually, you're upset by it, you're upset by it. You didn't mean anything, but you do have, it's you and a handful of others. And if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to, how old are you?
I'm 23 years old.
Okay. I mean, how many 23-year-olds out there are calling right now? Very few. Most are in their 50s, 60s, 70s and work their way right on up. We absolutely need that.
The only people I see on the radar that are young is a kid named Cameron Harnish and then Matt McGovern. But Matt McGovern's like well over 30 now, from my understanding. So it's like I think I'm the only one here. I'm not sure.
Cameron is awesome. I saw that kid a couple of years ago at Callerlab, and he was at GSI and he did Here for the Party as his singing call. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This kid just tore it up. He's impressive. But there's just a handful out there that are below 30. So definitely keep with that. With that being said, do you have any advice for other callers? I mean, you're going through it right now, but what would you like to say to other callers that are just coming up or whatever?
Sometimes when you start calling that first year, don't be afraid to ask for help, and you got to listen. You got to listen to the people around you, but you got to be careful. But you need to listen to the people around you. If they say, do this, don't do this, don't do that, you got to listen.
Absolutely. Now, when you go into doing a tip, if somebody says, hey, come up and do a tip, your patter, are you more of a sight caller? Do you work off memory? How do you approach it?
For a while I was doing modules, and then like once in a while, one of my cards wouldn't be right. And so I would just, that's the way I ended up in the deep end. And so then basically at that point I had to resolve, and then I learned I can resolve.
Okay.
And that's like a big moment. You know, when you're on stage and you resolve for like the first time,
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what the? And yeah, and so that was a big moment. And now basically what I do is maybe I'll write a get in on a card and I'll put it on the table, and then I'll write a conversion and a get out, and then I'll write, and then I have singing call figures in my head. So then when I get on the floor, I will start. First of all, I'll write down the corner box.
Yep.
And then call my get in, whatever, you know, call a singing call figure, call a couple singing call figures to make sure they can hear me and understand me, and the floor understands what's going on. And then that also tests the level kind of.
Yep.
And then I'll just start sight calling. And then when I'm ready to resolve, I'll resolve.
Yeah, I know what you mean. For the longest time, I thought I could write stuff down, but I am terrible about losing my place. And so, same thing. I'd go up there with a bunch of little note cards or whatever, and I'd glance down. And when I look back up, I'm like, well, I'm lost. And so then I had to figure it out. And it was rough for a little while. But then it's just like you said, hey, ladies trade, circulate. You're like, oh, God, there's the corner box. And it's a huge moment when you get it. Now, I can get there in about 3 or 4 moves, typically, depending on if it's a group that I know. If it's not a group that I know, if I'm visiting and I say, hey, do a tip, I still write my corners down on occasion, unless it's my club, because I know everybody and I know where they dance. But yeah, you have to do that kind of stuff. So, with that being, what level do you dance to?
Plus.
Okay. Now, with mainstream plus SSD and all that, do you have a favorite call? Just to call, watch.
I don't know. I think Ferris wheel. I'm gonna say Ferris wheel.
No,
because
absolutely.
if you're gonna have to resolve the square, a Ferris wheel is pretty helpful.
Absolutely, it is. What I've done too is I will take, and I've got a bunch of note cards that I have in my little box that I carry, and with get outs from corner boxes and from partner lines. And because I can get to that and I can see those set up pretty easily, I can't remember all those things. So before I go into like a mainstream, I'll grab 2 cards and I'm like, okay. And then once I look at it, I'll know it and I can set that down. So somewhere, instead of saying square through 3 element left every time, I've got 2 or 3 get outs from corner box. And I'm like, all right, this tip, I'm going to hit these 3. And so, kind of like a surprise. Some of my dancers know they're coming now. They can feel them when, they hear, I've lost it. From a corner box, follow your neighbor. You don't spread as element left. And, of course, my group knows it now. The groups that don't know me, they hear that and they're like, oh, look at that. I'm just like, it's a simple get out. But there's others. And I do choreography. I know with the amount of traveling and stuff you've done, you probably don't get to. How often do you work on choreography, whether it be writing it out with checkers or terminations or whatever? What's your process? Anything?
At least every week. I mean,
Okay.
the other thing that I'm really blessed about is I have a new best friend and a father figure who lives 3 miles away.
Okay.
And I went to a square dance and I walked in the room and I had somebody with me and he goes, hey, Don. And Don went to school with him. I'm taking care of this older gentleman, and Curtis and Don went to school together. And Curtis is a caller who lives 3 miles away, who's a redneck who loves guns. So now it's like we're going to all the dances together on the way to and from. We're like going over singing calls. We're playing with Pams. We're just hanging out.
Nice, very nice. Okay.
That's not easy to find. A caller friend that lives nearby. It's not an easy one.
Agreed. Yep. I've got one that I've talked about a whole lot. Guy named from Kennesaw, right here next to me, Sean Butler. We talk every week, 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes, about choreography. But yeah, you have to push checkers, and I do a lot on terminations because I'm always around the computer. Seems like, but I do have checkers at all times somewhere near me, and I'll play with them. If I'm at a restaurant and I'm playing with the sugar packets or whatever, it drives my wife crazy because I'm like, hey, look what I can do from a corner box. But and she's not that into it. So, oh my goodness. So, what are your plans? What do you want to do with Square Dance Calling?
Some people may say it's a pipe dream, but I would like to be a national caller at the end of the day.
Okay.
And that's a tall order to follow. But I think I got enough fire under me that I can do it probably. And if I have these people training me who are like legendary, I don't see there's a reason that I couldn't do it, but it's going to take longer because I'm going to be a trucker. So I have to go out, I have to go make some money. And then in a few years, I'm going to come back and chill out. And
I was going to say, with a CDL, being a trucker, man, you could be a national, you could be all over the place, depending on who you work for. You could schedule dances all across the country, and you've got reason to go there if you're working. For some of us, we've got to plan vacations to do it. So.
The other thing is it's just taking time to get known. So this interview right here, nationals, that's another thing.
Now, are you going to be at nationals this year in Wisconsin?
I'm hoping, but I'm not sure entirely. If the money shows up, I'm going. If it don't, it don't. But I'll be probably at Shreveport and Waco.
Nice. Yep. Shreveport's going to be awesome. And of course, the next year's Callerlab is in South Carolina. We talked about that for a minute. That's going to be huge. That's going to be a really good one. The biggest thing about the nationals to me is the GSI school. I make a point to go to that just for it's a free school for the most part, and you have tons of instructors. I know Mike has done something with it. There's typically 40 callers of some sort of Callerlab coaches that are on there, and they're just amazing. And the contacts you make, I've met a ton of other callers at just going to GSI, going to other caller school. What other caller schools have you gone to? I mean, I know you said you've done a lot of work with Mike and all of them. Any others around the area?
That's about it. I was supposed to go to Ken's school in Massachusetts, but my mother passed away around the same time. So I just decided I wasn't going nowhere.
Right. Okay.
So, but I can always do another school with Sikorsky because he knows me so well. So It's not like I'm wasting money. If I go to another one, he knows exactly what to work on with me.
Gotcha. Yeah, if given even with your CDL, if you can get there, and I'm certainly not plugging anyone over another because I love GSI school, and Ken Ratusi, that one that he does up the Northeast. I've been to 4 or 5 of Ken's schools. The Northeast one is it's a different level. It's amazing. The facilities they have and everything else is something you really need to do at some point. But it's not cheap. It's a plane ride and a rental car for me because unfortunately the airport isn't close to where it is. So you got to drive some too. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, tell me some more about Henna. What about you?
I'm trying to think of something interesting.
Okay.
Oh, more about the square dancing. So I'm really interested in possibly starting my own label at some point. I really enjoy the musical aspect of, I've worked with Rick and now I'm going to work with Wade. And I'm really blessed that basically Lorne Clayton was supposed to do that vocal on Go Ahead and Break My Heart, but it wasn't in the right key. And so I just said, what the hell? Let me just call like the person I look up to and I think is a legend. Let me just call him on the phone. I haven't really spoken to him much. And I just called him and I said, hey, you can do this. And the first time he said the vocal wasn't good enough. And then the second time he's like, perfect. So, and then eventually I'd like to start my own label. I think it's really fun, birthing things, organically creating music. It's a super fun process.
Very nice.
So that's like a couple years. We'll start doing that.
That's hell of a goal. Nothing wrong with that. Now, with that being said, and I really haven't asked this of anybody else. What songs would you like to hear? Because you do it, I'm sure I do it, and everybody else does that's in the Square Dance Calling. What songs are out there right now that you would like to see as square dance song? Anything on top of your head?
I can't give you the secrets. I'm not gonna give you my
Okay,
secrets.
okay, I got you.
I save those for special people,
Hmm.
and I save those for me and for friends. Like sometimes, like Denise messaged me the other day. She said, "Do you have any suggestions?" And I sent her some. But
Okay, outstanding. All right. Well, that being said, is there anywhere if you could call anywhere in the world, where would it be?
um, Germany and Finland is on my list.
Nice. Okay.
I'm 30% German and I'm 50% Finnish. And
Okay.
I think it's so crazy that we live in a world that I can go to any country in the whole entire place and all the calls are in English. I think that's the
Yep.
craziest thing.
Yeah. When I first found that out, I was blown away by that. Early on, when I got into it, people were telling me that, and I didn't believe it. But yeah, you can go and listen to YouTube in Japan and everywhere else. It's in English. That's something else. Oh my gosh. Now, you dance up to plus now. Do you have any aspirations of wanting to go higher than that, whether it be dancing and call in advanced or C or anything?
Well, to be a national caller, it's typically suggested that you call all the way up to probably A2, if not higher. So I'm gonna say, I mean, I'd like to probably be at C1, C2 someday,
Okay. Yeah.
if not all the way up there. But the thing is I'm getting I hyperfixate really bad because I have ADHD.
Okay.
So it's this is like it's not easy to sight call right now, but I know within like a year or two, I'm gonna be bored and I'm gonna be like, oh, I gotta learn another level. I gotta call another level.
Yeah. Okay. Well, from what you've told me so far, you've got the right people around you. Um, if you want to start working up, because again, I've talked to several of those mentions, Mike and Wade. I talked to Wade a little bit more. I finally did the only time I've ever talked to Daryl, was doing a podcast, and awesome dude. So it's good stuff. So are you planning on staying in Texas or anything like that? Or any ideas of moving on?
I have to see where the world takes me.
Okay.
Obviously, like I'm a single woman at this point, so it's like that plays into the equation, and square dancing plays into the equation a lot.
Well, and this is completely off the square dance part of it. Where did the truck driving come in? Is it other people in your family, or is this something you've wanted to do?
Okay, so when my stepmother passed away, my dad got very ill.
Okay.
Very ill like this. And he's still ill. And so I said, I always want to drive across America in a camper. So I did it. At that moment, because I had to leave, I said, I'm going to go buy a camper. And I drove it across America. And then I love traveling. I'm just at home at a truck stop. I'm at home with the truck stop shower. I'm at home with the subway at the truck stop. I love boondocking, if you know what that means. So somebody had told me that they had done it and it wasn't that hard. And I love towing things. It entertains me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And that's part of the reason I moved to Texas is because in this state, they will pay for your tuition for this kind of stuff.
No kidding. I did not know that. Well, tell me about boondocking. No, what is that?
Boondocking means you have no power or no water. So basically, if I could save money in that whole trip across America, and I bought a generator. So technically speaking, I could drive out into the middle of the desert and not around nobody, and I could just be in my camper and run my AC and chill.
Nice.
But boondocking is more like no power, no water. That's part of the reason I bought a generator, but it's like same thing. Like I'm the kind of person who will go out into the woods and sleep in the back of their truck. I don't care. Like I'm a
Okay.
hippie.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Okay. All right, Henna. We've gone to the Urban Cowboy is awesome. And I usually ask favorite movies and all that, whether it be Footloose, Dirty Dancing. Any opinion on that?
Dirty Dancing is also like in that top 5.
Okay, very nice. Gotcha. Yeah. What else you want to talk about? what would we did not talk about since we haven't met up until now? Tell me some more about you.
I like to play pool. If I have somebody to go with, I love to go play Jack and Jill tournaments. That's one
Nice,
thing I
okay.
like to do a lot. Now I'm, for some reason right now, the new hyperfixation that's coming is speakers for some reason.
Speakers.
And now I'm like,
okay.
and now I'm like, I really want to see the schematics of the speakers that we use.
Mhm.
And I want to see if I can build something different. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Sometimes I just pick up new hobbies that are like a lot of work randomly.
Well, you were in the right place being in Texas, and that close to the West Coast with Wade and Mike and all those guys. Well, Wade's in Texas, but Mike's in California, correct? Am I right? Sikorsky.
No, he lives in Arizona.
Arizona, that's what it is.
He
Okay.
came here like a few weeks ago, and I got to see him, and
Okay.
I got to see Janet, and Manny Gonzalez, one of the dancers, gets on stage, and usually it's like either Ken or somebody else does the speech at the dance. And I called early squares before it, whatever, and then Manny gets up here and he goes, "Actually, did you guys know that Sikorsky is from Texas?" And they were in Boy Scouts together. I'm like, that's wild.
Wow, that's awesome. I did not know that. Gosh, that's good stuff. Well, I look forward to finding out what these singing calls that you want to come out are at some point when you get to put those out. Now, you're on a couple of labels, or you're on a label now, and you said so you're going to do some more coming up. You think?
I already have two that are in the process. I have one that's pushed to wait until November, and then I have one with Wade. I'm practicing it still. You know, when I feel right about it, you know how Wade is. He's got to have everything perfect.
Yep.
So, but I really want to watch. So if anybody's out here watching this, anybody who wants to, if they see me at convention or they see me or I come to their dance, I love collaborating with other people. Ask me to come up and do a singing call with you. Ask me to come call patter with you. Ask me to come up there and you call and I'll solve it. I don't care.
Very nice.
You know, that's one thing. I really want to start like doing duets. I feel like that's so fun. I feel like we need to do that more.
No, it is. It really is.
Same thing. If people want to collaborate on music, you know, I'm here.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Henna, like I said, I would like to at some point. I've got to go back and talk to everybody again. I would love to talk to you about a year from now,
Okay.
when you have some more stories to tell and you've got some more singing calls out there. At that point, they'll be out there. Not going to get to see you at maybe not at nationals. Maybe you can make it to nationals. We don't know yet.
Hey, with America, we'll make it to nationals.
Yeah, if you're out there, I think I've already got my schedule. I've got a couple of conventions and nationals coming up, and I've got some schedules already.
Are you able to leave? Because some people have jobs during the week and they can't travel. Are you a caller that can travel?
Yes. I am about to retire from my regular job, and so I've got plenty of time on the books. So, and I plan ahead. My vacations are kind of my trips. Like Wisconsin is a week because I'm going out for GSI, so I'm leaving on Saturday, be out there all week, and come back on Sunday, Monday. So yeah, that's the whole week I'll be out there, and because for somebody that's been around a little bit like myself for a few years, I look forward to the after the dances are over, back at the Caller Hotel, that type of stuff, hanging out with people I don't get to normally see, you know, and spending time with them. And I'm always learning. You know, I'm sitting down talking to these callers and they're talking about this and that and, you know, messing with each other. There's a lot of camaraderie there, you know. If one of the callers messes up, one of these guys that travels and that's all they do, and they make a mistake and miss the corner or something, they're all giving them a hard time. It's almost like a roast to a point. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I do travel quite a bit. I'm going to the Alabama State Convention in August, Georgia State Convention in October. And of course, those are weekends. And I work Monday through Friday, so it works out okay for now. So yeah, I do travel a little bit. Always try and go to Callerlab. Always try and go to nationals. And I never did nationals until they came to Atlanta a few years ago. I live 3 miles from where the Atlanta convention was. So I went and I was a big part of that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And like you said, I ran into Justin Russell and,
He's a good
Tony
guy.
awesome. And Tony Oxendine, Jet Roberts, all these guys I don't get to see a whole lot of. They're there. And I was like, man, I've got to start going to more of these. So I haven't missed a national since then. And but they're a lot of fun. Look forward to seeing you at some of these. Absolutely. And when you get your CDL, it's even easier. You can plan routes where it takes you right through these places, so you get paid to go to them for the most part. That'll work out. It's awesome.
Well, I just want to work, and then I want to spend all my money on play.
Okay.
That's the
That
point.
sounds good. That sounds good. Well, you got a great start. You've got several good mentors and people that have been working with you. So it sounds like you got a bright future. And I look forward to seeing more of your stuff that you put on Facebook. That's how I keep up with a lot of people. I keep up with you with some of the call and stuff you're doing. And so definitely want to do this again and hope to see you at nationals. If not, definitely need to see you at Callerlab in South Carolina next year. That's the 50th. It's going to be amazing. And you can't beat the experience of Callerlab during the day and with the sessions and at night, talking to some of these people and watching them call. Because when you see, like you were saying, watching Vernon do his thing, when you see a bunch of callers up there calling at Callerlab and they're calling to other callers, some of them that they're showing off and they're showing what they can do, and it's impressive. And the dance level is high because everybody's callers. So definitely plan on that. That'd be awesome. Henna, anything else you want to talk about before we go tonight? It's been a pleasure, I'll tell you that.
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I'll let people know that you're retiring, and like I'll mention it to Ken or something when I
That'd
get
be
Renegade.
awesome. Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and like I say, you run up on any of those Vernon Jones, Scott Bennett, who's Oklahoma, so he's not Texas, but Vernon Jones, an awesome guy. If you get, of course, you watch most of the podcast. He had a whole story about baseball, and I'm a huge baseball fan, and it just blew me away. Vernon's an awesome guy. Of course, John Jones, Deborah Carroll Jones, they're all, if you can get that whole group out there, that's awesome. Henna, it has been a pleasure. Look forward to doing this again, and I'm absolutely planning on seeing you on the road somewhere calling.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day, Charlie.
All right. You take it easy.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Four ladies chained over and back, I still feel 25. Most of the time, left Alabama and girl, close I do. Left Alabama with the ring. I was a young troubadour, swinging promenade. I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. Well, now the heads promenade and go halfway, walking square through, all the way, and then you'll swing through, my friend. Boy, running a Ferris wheel, now the center square through to three, swinging promenade. I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. All right. Well, now the heads promenade and go halfway, walking square through. Better? All the way, and then you swing through, my friends. Boy, running a Ferris wheel, now the center square through to three. Swing promenade, I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. Four ladies promenade one time. Get home, swing that man.
He's gonna scare him if I sing with him.
Join hands, circles, the left go round. Left out the man with the ring. I was a young troubadour, swinging promenade. I'll be an old troubadour when walking square through, all the way, and then you'll swing through, my friend. Boy, running a Ferris wheel, now the center square through, get 3. Swing and promenade, I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. One more time, side. Well, now the side promenade can go halfway, walking square through, all the way, and then you'll swing through again. Boy, running a Ferris wheel, and now the center square through to 3. Swing and promenade, I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. Side space, grand square, still feel 25 most of the time. I still raise a little cane when the boys left Alabama and we talks and pretty women. Lord, I'm still right there with them, singing above the crowd and the noise. 4 ladies chain over and back. I'll be an old troubadour when I'm gone. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Oxendine.
Charlie Petrie, y'all.
Thank y'all for letting me do that. I appreciate that.